So they turn it up, and I felt myself at one point not breathing and levitating out of my body. And I remember I'm on the ceiling of the dentist office looking down saying, hello, hello, can you see me? Can you hear me? And I was pulled through the roof of the dentist office up into the sky, up into this tunnel. And the tunnel, it took me in, my spirit body and my soul body, because my physical body is still in the dentist chair. And I could feel the vibration of wind. That I do remember, through this tunnel. I was being sucked through it very, very fast, very fast. And it had turns, and it was long and dark, and I didn't know what was going on, what was happening. But I wasn't afraid also. And then I came to points where I was going slower in the tunnel and then faster. And then I started to hear melodies. Then I seen a pinhole of light which pulled me through and opened up to this beautiful, magnificent sky that is euphoric, crystal blue. And the one thing about the end of the tunnel and the light and the sky was that it was different than looking up in the sky in the physical realm. The sky had a vibration of love that I felt. I felt like I was home, and I felt like I was me again, meaning the person I was before I was born. I felt great. I felt incredible. And I was just a spirit, but I felt more alive. So I was pulled through these golden gates, through the right side of me. I was drifting, a form of floating. Again, it's a spirit body, so I'm not walking. I'm pulled through these gates into a garden. And in the garden, which is beyond words that I can express here in the physical world, it's beyond beautiful. Each flower, each rose, each petal, everything was alive in vibration, where you can feel the creation of life through it. It was magnificent. And then after the garden, it's as if it was a homecoming. But I didn't see anybody just yet, but I felt like it was a homecoming for me. I was pulled through these fields, and a young, angelic being, no wings, blonde hair, crystal blue eyes, was floating towards me. And she started to pull me through, again, a gravitational pull through touch, not by hand of the soul, but some kind of vibration, as if like she's a magnet and pulling me through. And I feel nothing but love for her. I know I knew her, but I didn't know from where. And she takes me to a park bench where I see these two elderly people, and then this young angelic being drifts away. And the two elderly people turn around, and it's my grandparents, who were deceased. My grandfather I never met. He was long gone before I was born. And my grandmother had died earlier that year. And they stood up, and my grandfather had a top hat on, a suit. He looked around his 60s, but an angelic look, a vibrating, an incredible look of the 60s, not the 60s in the physical world. And my grandma looked really good, beautiful, and she was mirroring the same age as him. And he goes, "Hello, Sonny." And I says, "Grandpa." And he looks at my grandmother and goes, "What's Philip doing here?" And I was just listening through vibration. And she looks at him and looks at me, and she points her finger and says, "Go back." And I says, "Grandma," and then she says, "Go back." And then I was pulled backwards through the field, through the garden, through the gates, into a tunnel, and I'm being sucked in through the tunnel really fast again. And I remember that I didn't want to go back where I came from, meaning the physical world. I kind of had a recollection of, I don't want to go back there. And somehow, through a form of consciousness, I'm stopping myself in the tunnel. The scariest part about a near-death experience is that when you're in the tunnel, there's no pain. It's dark. You feel like you'll never be heard, never be found, never be seen, because the size of it and where you are, it feels like it's just something that you'll never be acknowledged again. And through my consciousness, I'm pulling myself back to the light of heaven. And once I'm pulling myself to this light again, I see the magnificent, beautiful sky again. And then one more time, I'm being pulled backwards into the tunnel really fast, over a hospital, over a ceiling, and I'm looking at my body. Now, what's interesting about this is that I have a 360 view of everything around me. It's not the physical eyes. There's eyes spiritually that I can see everything. And I'm looking at my body and I don't want to go back in it. But I was sucked in it like you put a glove on. I didn't have a choice. And I remember I'm gasping for air and gasping for air. First person I see is my mom. The doctor's working on me. And I knew where I was, back in the physical world of my body, having a hard time breathing. But now I'm in a hospital.